What trends do you see in franchising, particularly in the United States, if any?
Yeah, that's a really broad question.
It is, and
I
I can narrow it. I mean, obviously there's, property services like Pool Works, like Homefront brands. It's always going to be here. I mean, these services are generally non-discretionary. There's a shortage of houses. There's home building that's going to go on. We're going to have an increasing population for the next 25 years. There's a 10.3% compound annual growth rate in home and property services. So if somebody wants to get into a low cost franchise into a growing market that's relatively safe, home and
yeah,
property services, and then you see things like fitness and it gets really big and really crowded. And, but I don't know if there's pets. There's, I think, 95 million pets and 87 million kids in this country now. So
yeah.
pet franchising is huge. But do you see anything in terms of franchising slowing down, franchising speeding up, or anything else that from your perspective that is interesting?
I think that with it's how do I say this politely? I think the franchise sector over the last 5, 6 years, particularly post pandemic, has got a little bit lazy in its positioning.
Hmm.
In if you look 20 years ago, the term was be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. That's why you would get into a franchise business in any sector within the franchise sector
Sure.
or any industry within the franchise sector. We've kind of forgotten the importance of that and how to position that in the minds of potential franchisees, where we are not so much focusing on what our service is or our product offer is or the business that we're in, that we are focusing on the relationship we're trying to create. And I think that emerging franchisors that are maybe just getting started with 5, 10, 15, 25 or whatever franchisees at the moment, their their positioning needs to be back to basics and back to grassroots where it's about the relationship. And by the way, we sell this product, or by the way, we have this service. We've
Right.
forgotten that. We were good at it back in the late 90s, early 2000s, where franchising was needing to be explained to people as much as it needed to be positioned. But now we've forgotten that the real reason that people want to get into this sector, into franchising, is the support. It's the relationships that they can build with their franchisor, the franchisor team, and those that are going to help them on their journey to deliver the things they want for them and their families. We've stopped that conversation. Well, no, we haven't stopped the conversation. We've stopped leaning on that conversation as much as we probably should do, in favor of saying, I've got this new pet business and it's really cool. No one else has got it. You're going to make a heap of money. It's going to be fabulous. Or
Right.
trying to be sexy with the product or service that we are positioning as a franchise or business, where we should be focused on the relationship. Oh, and by the way, we sell this. That's the piece I think we've missed in the last bunch of years.
Well, and I wonder if that's tied to the rise of the franchise sales organizations.
I think in part because the personalization of those messages is a little bit diluted in that
Yeah.
conversation. And
Yeah.
when we look at the franchise development stuff that we've put in place for franchisors over the years, there's always been a real focus on building the relationship first and then giving them the information about the business. And to the extent that our process of introducing a potential franchisee in the business is just that: information, experience, emotion, information, experience, emotion, 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 emotion. So we're drawing them into the relationship before we even start talking about how we sell stuff or who we
Right.
sell it to or why it's important. We have lost that connection through the use of brokers and franchise
Yeah.
services, businesses and the like, because they're not living it the same way a franchisor is. They've not got the emotional connection to the business because they didn't build it, or they didn't
Right.
have the struggles that help give you the confidence you could stand there in front of a potential franchisee and
Yeah.
say, I've had a few struggles. I got out of them. I can get you out of them too. And here's how we're going to do it together.
That's right. Yeah. And I think we do as good a job as we can with that at Homefront Brands. It's all that we talk about here. I just did 2 hours of training with a group of brand new franchise owners, and it was the first. It's what it, it's this is the values. This is our relationship. This is what you're going to face. And it's all the things, right? And I put a quadrant up there of you want to build wealth for your family. Businesses are part of it, marketable securities, um, real estate, and this fourth one that's a kicker. Like, okay, so you're on this journey together. This is we're in relationship to build you a successful life, to build you a
Right.
successful life, and
Yep.
all the things that matter. And it's a slippery slope because we still made a mistake, and because we're in a competitive environment and we're trying to catch eyeballs, and marketing's gotten sophisticated, and everybody's got the newest, hottest franchise thing out there. And we have to compete for those people because we need people as well. And I mean, we made a mistake where we went to market and we overemphasized a product. And it's like, no, this is that's why it's a wonder why people, it's not resonating with people because we're leading with a product,
Right.
and if you're forced to sell, if you believe that you're forced to award franchises at all cost, now you're gonna be focusing on numbers and the sizzle, right? But at the end of the day, business ownership is not the easiest thing that people can choose to do. And when it gets tough, you've got to have people that are mature, that are in your corner,
Yeah.
that can give you the feedback that you need, that can resolve conflicts in a healthy manner. None of which is going to the contract. It's all interpersonal. Other thing that I'm very proud of at Homefront Brands is that, and it's been a talk track that I've done 500 times within the walls of our business, is we're focused on these people's outcome and everything that they need to do to build themselves, the capabilities, the confidence, to one brick at a time to build a business. Like, we need to make sure that they get to a destination. Like you said, when you get into something, you got to know what the destination is.
Right.
Cheshire Cat was not right. If Cheshire Cat was right, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
Exactly.
So, and sometimes, and this as well as I do, I mean, we have a population of franchise owners out there, hundreds and hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Cancer happens, divorce
Yeah.
happens,
Yep.
um, uh, accidents happen. We had a family in a plane crash that passed away. Um, People go to rehab, addiction happens. So in those situations, because we're focused on the outcomes, if people say, I just need to get out of this or close it down, we will fight them to resell that business and to operate that business to get them some money on their way out the door or whatever it is. Like, because, just because they say, I'm in this bad situation and I've got to give it up. A lot of franchisors would say, well, sign the paper, goodbye, we'll let you
Yeah.
go. But I mean, but we're going to go and we're going to make sure that that family gets as much of a recovery as they possibly can out of the business. And we'll waive fees, we'll send people, we'll do everything we need to, because when they committed to us to build the business, we committed to them to get the best outcome possible for them. And if
Yep.
the opportunity for them to do it has been taken from them by circumstances, then that doesn't relieve us of the responsibility to continue to try. And like, that's a subtle but significant thing. And I think it makes an impact on our people and the way that we support and the way that we care for our franchise owners.
Absolutely. And that's where the relationship becomes the agreement. And
Yeah.
and this is the widget we sell. And when I have potential franchisees come to me saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about buying a franchise. What sector should I get into?" I said, "It doesn't matter. It's really not important. Go and find the leader you'd like to work with that has
Mhm.
the vision, that has an understanding of where the business is going and how he's going to take you on that journey, or she's going to take you on that journey. Have a conversation about how they're going to support you emotionally, support you when things are tough, when it isn't going quite right. Oh, and by the way, we'll sell that stuff on the way as well. We've lost the real reason that people are wanting to get into this business, and the real reason is they want that relationship, they want the support.
Yeah.
And when I had that conversation with potential franchisees, I have done for 30 odd years now, it's always try and bring it back to the relationship of saying, forget the widget. It's not about selling coffee or cars or donuts. It's about the individuals you're going to work with. And by the way, here's what we sell. And if that works for you, that you've got the confidence of the relationship, then everything else will fall into place.
Mm.